Having a yard versus having a garden. And what do I mean by that? Well, Americans love their lawn tractors. They love to sit on their tractors and go around their yard mowing grass. I've never really had the time for that or really gotten into it. And I have honeybees. Whenever I do mow grass during the summer, the honeybees don't like it, and I usually get attacked by honeybees. But anyway, I'm upstairs on the second floor of my house. So this is the east side. Way out there next to the spruce trees, there's 3 rows of blueberries, and then you can't see next to the blueberries there's a row of lettuce and spinach. And then I got some cucumbers out there and some squash. And then I have 2 rows of asparagus, and then right where that power pole is, it starts 5 rows of wine grapes. I make my own wine. And of course you see the fruit trees. Apple trees, pear trees. There's an apple tree there. I have an acre and a half, and I'm surrounded by crop farmers, and there's a hayfield on the other side, and a month ago I counted 21 deer on the other side of these trees here, and I don't have the money to put up a fence tall enough to keep the deer out. They come in at night, and what I do is in the evening when it's not completely dark and in the early morning, I shoot them. I've shot 2 already this year, 2 does. Usually it's the same ones that come back several times in a row. I don't want them eating my blueberries. So I eliminated 2 of them, and I wouldn't eat them because they're eating off the fields that are full of toxic chemicals. I wouldn't even eat them during the fall and winter. So anyway, after the grapes, I've got some potatoes out there, and then I had trouble with sweet corn. I tried to use the stuff it doesn't have the poison on it, and what happens is it's not warm enough, and it rots, and the moles get to the other parts, the other seeds that don't rot. So I was unsuccessful my first time. So then I ran out of corn seed, and I couldn't find any corn seed that didn't have any poison on it. So I had to buy some that had poison on it, and I rinsed it out several times. And I wet it overnight for 24 hours anyway, and then I put a damp paper towel over it and dampened it every day for a week until it sprouted, and then I planted that, and it's just now coming up. So anyway, there's potatoes, sweet corn, and there's some beets in there. We've had 4 days of 90s, and we need water. If we don't get water next couple days, I have to start watering stuff. And then there's sweet corn, beets, peas, and green beans. And then I planted some kidney beans last night. If you do dry beans, you store dry beans, they last forever. I've done that over 10 years ago. Did a bunch of kidney beans. We just now finished them up during the winter, so I planted some more. Let me pause. All right, I'm down here where I just showed you. This is my house. No grass around my house. It's all garden. And it's in the 90s today. The plants are starting to show stress. If we don't get water the next couple days, I'm going to water them. But this is a sweet corn, peaches and cream sweet corn that I kept in the house for a week, kept it moist. And I got to start doing some hoeing. And then, like I said, pear trees, and then apple tree. There's some apple trees there. And this is what the deer do. They munch the lower limbs so your tree sprouts out the top. The deer are a pain in the ass. I'll kill them versus them eating all my food. And the other thing is a pain in the ass. There's always something going on. These are plum trees. They've got black knot. I have to wait until winter. I'm going to cut all these down. I'm going to burn it. There's 3 plum trees here, and this is the only one that didn't have black knot. And most of the plums will fall off before we actually get to get any. So let me pause. Oh, and wherever I don't have something growing, I have Dutch white clover for the honeybees. All right, there's the honeybees. This used to be all peach trees. There was like 8 of them here. Then I got spider mites, and because I have honeybees on my property, I couldn't treat the spider mites, and only one peach tree, I did say peach tree, right? Only one peach tree survived the spider mites. And we usually get quite a few peaches off of it. And peaches, if you prune them, you have to wait 2 years for that area what you prune in order to get more fruit. So then we got cherry trees over here, and you see, I try to have Dutch white clover in here, but it gets kind of weedy. Weedy, but weeds have a lot of flowers. This was all full of dandelions here a month ago. Cherry trees, I never prune cherry trees, and they seem to do all right. There's not a lot of cherries this year. There was a lot of blossoms, but I don't have a lot of cherries. Not really worth the time picking them this year. Something happened to them. There's always something going on with fruit trees. This one here, those are tart cherries, and there was 4 sweet cherries here. One of them died, and this one here hasn't produced anything in years and years, and that one didn't either. So, you know, I would cut them all down, but if it weren't for the fact that most of the time they do have blossoms, and they just don't do anything. So, and again, Dutch white clover for the bees. They seem to be doing really well. And I used to have chickens and ducks, and they were in this area here, and they killed my Dutch white clover that I planted there. So I gave up on chickens and ducks. It's cheaper to buy eggs than it is to buy the food to feed them. And this right here was my other garden for many years, well, the first garden. And it's now Dutch white clover because I can't keep the deer out of here. I can come at night and I don't see them because my house is way over there, but at least over there next to my house, I have a better chance of keeping them away. They're not afraid of my dogs either because my dogs are in a fence. Years ago, I had a Rottweiler that stayed on my property. This is like 25 years ago. On no fence, she stayed on my property. I didn't have issues with deer because she would scare them away because she could roam around. But these dogs here, the Siberian Huskies I have to keep them fenced up or else they'll be all over the neighborhood. All right, so I don't have grass. Oh, let me show you one more spot. All right, this is the north side of these spruce trees that I planted for this next to the power line. But anyway, this used to be a driveway. I eliminated the driveway for my asshole neighbor, and he didn't have egress across my property. So I planted Dutch white clover here, and then Dutch white clover will grow in the shade, but it won't bloom. So I'm trying to eliminate trees and stuff. And this fall, I'd like to put some Dutch white clover out there for the honeybees. And there's sweet clover usually comes up or blooms in July. It's already up, but you look down here. I don't use a brush hog or anything. I let the weeds grow. The nice thing is there's always something blooming all summer long. The Dutch white clover will bloom all summer, but then you got certain things at certain periods. And at the end of summer, end of August, September, we have the goldenrod. But let's see if I can find some sweet white clover. Oh, right here. It's blooming right now. That's sweet clover. And it's white. It comes in different colors, yellow, white, purple. And then you got your red clovers and stuff. See, I don't mow this. It's good for honeybees, and I don't spend my time mowing. So, all right. Thank you.